Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Taylor. I'm currently living and working here in this beautiful country, New Zealand. Today I'm so happy to share with you a very hot topic. If you are considering studying here in New Zealand in 2025, this section is for you, especially for someone who already completed the bachelor degrees back home in your home country. And this video is really helpful if you are looking at the option to study here in New Zealand. This live session today can help you to decide what is the best majors to study here in New Zealand in 2025. So first of all, thank you so much for everyone who joined my live section today. I hope it's going to be a useful section for you, and if you have friends who thinking about study here in New Zealand, please share this live section or this video with your friends. Thank you so much, and thanks for coming here in this live section today. Let's get started, guys. Let me share my screen. So let's get started. First of all, for some of you who didn't know about the New Zealand Green List rules yet, so this sentence, I took it from the website of the New Zealand Immigration New Zealand. So they said, green list roles are jobs we need people for here in New Zealand. So let's get started by looking at the New Zealand Immigration website. On my screen here, I'm going to the Immigration New Zealand website. It's called immigration.govt.nz. Over here, you need to into the bar search green list. It will show you this one, and as you can see here, the green list role jobs we need people for in New Zealand. So what does it mean? So it means if you working in a role and then you meet the conditions of New Zealand immigration about qualifications, registration or experience, you may be able to have enough condition to apply for a resident visa immediately or after 2 years of working here. So that's why if you're thinking about studying here in New Zealand, the green list roles are something very important that you should look at to let you narrow down what kind of roles in New Zealand that the employers are looking for hiring people here in New Zealand. So it will give you some benefits, especially when you study in these majors. So I will call it green list majors for today's live session, okay? So let's get back to my presentation. The green list majors. What's the benefit when you study this? First of all, you will have a high chance to get a job, because the reason the New Zealand immigration or New Zealand government put these roles onto the green list, because there is a shortage of the qualified people here in New Zealand who can do the job. So that's why they put those roles onto the New Zealand green list. Hopefully, this will encourage a lot more international students or international employees making their way to New Zealand to work in those roles. So meaning the government can, solve the problem of a shortage for those roles. So meaning after you complete the study here in New Zealand, there will be a higher chance to get a job after graduation. And the second benefit, I think, is a good salary, because you know about the supply and demand, I think, supply and demand principle, right? So if something, the employer couldn't find the qualified people to do the jobs, they may be willing to pay you better salary or good salary. I will show you later on an example. And also, lastly on my list is residency. So meaning the opportunity to apply for resident visa if you're working in those roles can be higher than the other roles. That's why maybe this list will help you to define which major you should come and study here in New Zealand. Let's moving on to the next one. And then there's another big question. Okay, so now you have access to the New Zealand green list, but you may need to ask yourself, right, how to know if it's a suitable major for you, because not all the roles are on the New Zealand green list, only some of them. So how to know if it's suitable for you, if it's a suitable major, if it's a good major for you, because you already graduated from your home country in a different major, or maybe, you know, in a different areas. How can you know if these roles on green list will be suitable for yourself in the future? So today I'm gonna answer that question as well and share with you another tool and a very helpful tool for you to know more about the role, to know more about the salary, like education, what qualification you should study to be able to work in that job. The tool that I would like to share with you today, that's called the Careers, one of the websites that for you to define and do more research about the New Zealand green list. So that's called careers.govt.nz. Again, it's careers.govt.nz. So now let's have a look into that website. So here I am on the careers.govt.nz. Say, for example, you was working as an architect in your home in the construction industry, right? So when you deciding, you know, when you try to figure out what's the major you should study here in New Zealand, you don't really know which major I should study to be able to find a job after graduation. What kind of job can pay you a good salary, and what kind of job can give you a pathway, the long-term pathway to get the resident visa here in New Zealand? So you can, the first step, you go into the green list roles. And then over here, I really like this website, and also I really like this section as well, because over here, the New Zealand Immigration allow you to search by the industry. So here you see, under the industry, I choose construction for that example. I choose construction. I don't select a role yet because for now, imagine I'm a student looking for what kind of suitable major I should study in New Zealand. So I don't choose any role, any specific role. I want to see what are the roles in New Zealand green list. So I search. If you select search, the website will allow you to see all of the roles on green list New Zealand under construction industry. I'm sorry, I'm not sure why my computer today is a bit slow, but I think it's still manageable. So I'm just go down and have a look. So you can click into the arrow here, so you will see all the details about this building associate or building construction supervisors. So here you can see they will list what is the code for ANZ SEO, also the Tier 2 role eligible for work to residents. So what is Tier 2 and what is Tier 1? I will explain to you. Tier 1 meaning, so if this role on Tier 1, meaning if you have a job offer, also you meet all the requirements of New Zealand immigration about salary, about experience, about qualifications, it meet all the conditions listed here, you will be able to apply for resident visa immediately when you have that job offer. That's Tier 1. In terms of Tier 2, if you work in a role on the New Zealand Green List and it's Tier 2, and you meet all the conditions about job offer, salary, qualifications, experience, you will be able to apply for resident visa after 24 months working in that role. So that's the difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2. For example, the building construction supervisor here is under Tier 2. So meaning, after you get the job offer for this role, and then you meet all the requirements about salary, qualification, experience, and then you have been working in this role for 2 years. After that 2 years, you will be able to apply for work to resident visa. So here you see, if you are working in this role and are eligible, you can apply for residence after 2 years working in New Zealand. And you need to meet the requirements as well, meaning this is salary requirements. Yeah, so this is the specific salary you need to meet at least. They also list for you the alternative job titles for this role. Can be site supervisor, site manager, blah, blah, blah. And then Tier 2, so after you're working on this role for 24 months, you will be able to apply for work to resident visa. Another good example under the construction is a quantity surveyor. Let's have a look what inside. I quite like this role. You know why? Because quite a few of my friends are working under this role in New Zealand. And then they told me the great stories and interesting stories about working in this role. They learned a lot. They talk to different people, different departments, different teams while working under this role. They quite like it. They are so happy working in this. So I think it's quite interesting to have a look into the role. Quantity surveyor. Let's have a look. So it's under Tier 1 role, meaning is eligible for straight to resident visa. So meaning, if you work in this role, you have a job offer, quantity surveyor, and you meet the conditions about the salary, pay at least $31.61 per hour. This is the current one. The new rules may be applied soon as well. And you're working for an accredited employer or have a job offer from one. And you also need to meet the condition about the qualification as well. If you scroll down a little bit further, you will see green list requirements. Here you will read more about the requirements for qualification. So meaning you need to have a bachelor degree in New Zealand at level 7 or higher. So bachelor degree at level 7 is a minimum. So if you meet all of these, you will be able to apply for resident visa straight away, immediately. That's great, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of my friends working in this, so I'm quite keen to share with you about this role, quantity surveyor. But some of you may have another question. You will be like, what kind of tasks a quantity surveyor may do in the future? So in this case, let's go to the step 2 to know more about the quantity surveyors. So over here, this is another government website. It's kind of the website for everyone to have access and know more about jobs, know more about the roles, or what kind of qualification the person is going to be doing in the future. So the quantity surveyor, as you can see here, if I go into the website careers.gov.nz for quantity surveyor, if you scroll down a bit, you will see the pay. So they will tell you how much you will be paid in the future if you work as a quantity surveyor. And then the job opportunities at the moment is at the highest ranking, which is good. Length of training 2 to 3 years. And if you want to know more about what kind of tasks you're going to be doing in the future, you can scroll down a bit more to see the quantity surveyors may do some or all of the following. So you can see here, you can study architects and engineers building plans. The reason I would love to share with you about these steps too, because when you study in your home country, you don't need to explain to anyone why you want to study this. You just need to pass some entrance exams, and then if your high school score are good enough and meet all the requirements, and then you pass the test, then you can study. But to study overseas, especially here in New Zealand, I remember 10 years ago when I first applied to study here in New Zealand, I need to explain why I would like to study this major. At that time, I didn't know how to do it properly, so I used a service from a educational agency to help me to build my applications, because at that time I'm also busy. I was working full-time as well, so I didn't have a lot of chances to prepare my application. Luckily, that educational agency was helping me a lot, so I passed the visa to come here to study here in New Zealand. That's why I feel very grateful. What they need to get from me is also why I would like to study this major. At that time, I was working for an exporting company back home in my country, Vietnam. And then at that time, I was holding the bachelor degree in finance banking. But then when I was working in that exporting company, I feel like I'm not good at managing people, but I'm quite keen to know more about the other side of the business, which is management, to understand more about how the business is running, is operating. So at the time, I decided to study the diploma level 7 in business management to know more about the business, know more about not only the finance side of the business, but also the other side of the business as well. So that's why I explained it into my study plan, and then it's quite persuasive. So that's why I passed the visa to come here to study in New Zealand. But if you don't know much about the task you're gonna do in the future for that role, it's not easy for you to explain. So that's why if you come here and read through this, you will know what kind of task I'm gonna do in the future if I working as a quantity surveyor. So here you have more of the details, so you can know more about the role. Thus, I found it very helpful. It helped me a lot, and it's also, you can see the skill and knowledge you kind of need as well. Quantity surveyors need to have a lot of skills and knowledges as well. It's also the good indication for you to practice even back home in your home country as well. So for example, here you need to have a good skill at maths and basic accounting skills. So yeah, then you have a time to prepare for yourself back home before coming here to study. So I think this tool is quite helpful for you and very useful as well for you to prepare your study application as well. Lastly, I would like to share with you, if you have a bit more time, the important part of the live section already end, but I would like to share with you one of the institutes here in New Zealand that providing a lot of courses related to Green List here in New Zealand. I would like to show you about the Tohomai Institute of Technologies. Over here, I can see that they have the subject of quantity surveying as well. and also the other majors. The one I really like at the moment, I think, is computing and IT. Everyone talking about AI, everyone talking about IT. So computing and IT is quite popular at the moment as well. So if you have a chance to have a look, go through this website, and you can read more about what you're gonna study as well. So you will have a general ideas about the role, general idea about the study program, and also it's very useful for you in the future. If you decided to study this, you will know what kind of subject you're gonna study. And if you have any question, please feel free to leave it on the comment section below. Any other question about New Zealand Green List role, I'm willing to help. But before I go, I just have a little bit of the disclaimer to share with you, because I'm not the licensed immigration advisor. So the information shared in this video, in this live session, is for general informational purposes only and based on publicly available sources and personal insights. It's just from my personal experience. Immigration policies and study pathways may change over time. In New Zealand, the New Zealand immigration may change the policy every 6 months. So for official guidance or individual advice, please consult with a licensed immigration advisor or visit the official New Zealand immigration website. My live session comes to the end. Thank you so much for your attention today. I really appreciate you have a little bit of time to spend with me on my live session. If you have a chance, and if you like my live session, and if you think it's useful, please hit the subscribe button and like, so I will have more motivation to do more contents like this about studying here in New Zealand, looking for part-time jobs, looking for full-time job, and also residence visa here in New Zealand. Thank you and have a great day. See you. Bye.